Hey neighbor, today we're going to talk about a virus that almost took out tomato production in the South back in the 1990s. It caused havoc on our tomato farmers. Home gardeners, including me, almost quit growing tomatoes because of this virus. And it is tomato spotted wilt virus. Around the 1990s, when we was having so much problems with this, University of Florida developed a variety that was resistant to tomato spotted wilt virus. And if you don't know what tomato spotted wilt virus is, it's when you have a real pretty tomato plant. Most of the time it gets about half grown and you walk outside one day and it's just wilted. Just like overnight it's just wilted. A day or so, it's just gone, completely gone. It just happens suddenly. Well, it is a virus that is spread by a vector, and a vector is an insect, and this specifically one is spread by thrips. And it moves in and out, and it causes infection into our tomatoes, and it just can devastate them. I can remember I almost just gave up back in the 90s because it was just terrible. You would put so much time and energy in trying to grow a tomato and walk out there one day and they're just gone. Nothing more heartbreaking than having so much investment in a plant and it just died overnight for no reason, you think. That more likely is tomato spotted wilt virus. As I was saying, University of Florida really dug into this and developed a variety that was resistant to this virus. One of the first ones that I know of, and the variety was called Amelia. When Amelia was released around 2003, man, we was excited. We had a variety we could grow. That was the talk of the South. Everybody knew about Amelia. It was just, word spread like crazy. We got a variety we can grow. The problem with Amelia is it tasted like cardboard. It still does today. That's one reason we don't carry the variety anymore. But I was guilty of growing it back in the early 2000s because we could grow a good tomato plant and it was resistant to that virus. And we was just happy to have a tomato. We didn't care what it tasted like. That came along and there came a movement after that to improve these tomato varieties that were resistant to tomato spotted wilt virus and had flavor. And we're gonna go over those today and give you some options on what you can plant that you're gonna grow a nice plant that's resistant to the virus and have a good tomato. Let's talk about the virus. The virus seems to be worse in the southern United States, although it does reach up into California. But you guys in Wisconsin, upper New York State, way up north, Maine, you're probably not gonna have a problem with tomato spotted wilt virus because y'all don't have an intense thrip population like we do down here in the South. The Carolinas, all the way down to Texas, and then it shoots up into California, that region where we get warm and our thrip population can overwinter and can explode on us, that's where we have the biggest problem with this tomato spotted wilt virus. So let's go over some varieties today that you can grow that are good tomatoes, that you can be successful growing a good plant, even though you may have a thrip population that spreads this virus and you have this virus, you can still grow a good tomato even in your home garden. Now the first one we're going to cover are indeterminate types. Those are the ones that get taller in the garden and they produce for a little longer period of time. Some people claim the indeterminates taste better than the determinates. I'm not so sure about that, but we're going to cover these first and then we'll move into the determinate types. The first one is going to be Celebrity Plus. Now all these varieties we're going to cover today have resistance to tomato spotted wilt virus, but they also have other attributes as well. And the great thing about Celebrity is it's got nematode resistant too. So Celebrity is going to be one of those varieties. If you have to plant back in the same spot every year, you probably want to look at this one because if you build up a nematode population, this one's going to be resistant to the nematodes and it's going to be a great one. Plus it has the virus resistance. Another one in that same camp there is going to be Big Beef Plus. Now, I don't think this tomato to me doesn't get quite the size, but it does have a little different color. It also is nematode resistant. So if you can't rotate and you have to plant back in the same spot, you really want to look at these two varieties right here that have the nematode resistance. Well, this one right here is a very popular tomato with the virus resistance, Early Girl hybrid tomato. And what's so wonderful about this one, it is early as the name implies, 52 days to maturity. Everybody loves this variety right here because it does mature out so early. So there you have it. Early Girl will work for you. And then we have Better Boy Plus. Now Better Boy Plus right here is a great one. I like this one right here. It makes a great tomato here. Virus resistance right there. It has a really good all-around disease package. All right, so we're gonna move into the determinant types now. This is our Hossinator, which is our best-selling tomato here. Hossinator pretty much got everything. Although it's a determinant, we can manage the size of it. I like that, but it has a good disease package. It is a wonderful tomato for the southern United States. It is the most popular grown, and when I say most popular, I'm talking about commercially and home gardens. It's the most popular grown tomato in the southeastern United States because it has such a good disease package and has a large size to it. It has good taste. It has everything you would want in a tomato. Now we're going to compare these two here. Red Snapper is going to be real similar. So we're going to talk about these two together right here. Red Snapper and Hossinator both came out of the same breeding program and have a lot of similar characteristics. However, there's a little bit of difference in them. The Hossinator is going to make, in my opinion, a little bit bigger tomato than the Red Snapper. The Red Snapper is going to make a very consistent size, big tomato, but not quite as big as the Hossinator. The Hossinator is going to end up having a little scar on the bottom of it. We call that the blossom end scar because it gets so big. So the Red Snapper is probably not going to have as much scarring on the bottom of the tomato as the Hossinator because it didn't get quite as big. The Red Snapper and the Hossinator taste very similar to me. I can't hardly tell them apart. So taste is very similar. The Hossinator is a heat set or a hot set type. The Red Snapper is not. But the Red Snapper is more consistent in sizing of the tomato to me than the Hossinator is. The Red Snapper is probably going to need a little bit more pruning, and I normally don't prune my Hossinators or sucker my Hossinators at all because they do get so big. And here we have the beloved Bella Rosa. I have probably grown this tomato more than I have anything else. This was the first tomato, in my opinion, that came out that had virus resistant to it, tomato spotted wilt virus, that had flavor. This came after Amelia, and this one right here is the one I started growing because I could grow it easily and it had good taste to it. A lot of people still love Bella Rosa. I've not grown it in a few years because I think there are better varieties out there, but I can certainly understand why everybody loves Bella Rosa so much. Now, Bella Rosa is going by the wayside. It's going to be deleted from the breeding program, and we're going to lose Bella Rosa in the next couple of years. We do still have some seed. I hate to see it go, but things happen, moves on. And they are better varieties out there nowadays, but Bella Rosa holds a special place in my heart because it was the only one I could grow for a number of years. Next, we have Roadster. Now, Roadster comes out of the same breeding program as the Hossinator and the Red Snapper. It's a great tomato. It is similar, however, it has some disease resistance that some of the rest of them don't. It has Fusarium race 1, 2, and 3 resistance. So it's got a little different package there. Really same type growing habit. It don't get quite as big as the Hossinator does. I would say it's more in line with the Red Snapper, maybe just a little bit smaller. An absolutely wonderful tomato with a little different disease package. So if you've had a Fusarium problem in the past, disease problem, Roadster is definitely a good one. We got Summerpick tomato here. Now this one here has root knot nematode resistance, which again is important if you don't have that rotation like you should have here. 70 to 75 days to mature, so it is an earlier maturing variety than some of them we have, but Summerpick does really good in extreme hot. It's probably more heat resistant than most of our other varieties right here. Makes a good sized tomato, not the biggest one, but a good consistent sized tomato. And there again, it is tomato spotted wilt virus resistant. I saved one of the most unique ones for last. This particular one come out of NC State Tomato Breeding Program. And this one right here has root knot nematode resistance. It has the virus resistant we've been talking about, of course, but it also has early blight resistant as well. It's one of the only ones out of this bunch we've talked about today, tomato spotted wilt virus resistant and early blight resistance and nematode resistance. For our friends up in the higher altitudes where it gets a little cooler at night, these mountain series tomatoes seem to do better for you than some of our other varieties that we've talked about. Now, the other varieties I've talked about down in the deep south, I'm talking about Florida, South Georgia, Louisiana, even on up into mid Louisiana up in there, are going to do wonderful. For you guys that live up into the mountainous areas, this one right here seems to excel where we get a little bit cooler temperatures at night and higher altitudes. A great tomato. It does not do extremely well for us in the deep south. I've grown it down here a few times. It's never made a significant difference to me. But I have seen it do really well up where you guys get cooler at night. You have a little different cooler climate, maybe a little shorter growing season, but you still have some of the same disease issues we have here. And Mountain Merit's going to fit the bill for you. Well, it's winter time, and I can tell you we've had an extremely cold winter here for us, and there's nobody ready to get rid of this winter more so than I am. I'm dreaming about that tomato sandwich almost every night. I am tired of this winter time. I'm ready to move into springtime. And as we do, tomatoes is on my mind, and we're going to be starting our tomatoes around the 15th of February. And I want to show you these varieties today. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the flavor on these tomatoes I gave to you today is going to be more profound or going to be better than some of the old time heirlooms. But I will tell you this right here. They've been significant improvements on flavor over the years for disease resistance, and we're able to have these varieties nowadays that do have good flavor to them that we can grow under intense disease pressure that we seem to have more and more of every year. So give some of these varieties right here a chance in your garden, and I think you'll be excited about them.